Those brilliant astrophysicists out there tell us that without the expansion of space-time, there would be no before and after. We'd have no conception of history itself. In fact, if everything were happening at the same time, we would have annihilation. The universe could not exist without that expansion of space-time and without history. Unfortunately, the concept of remembering history seems to be slowly disappearing in certain areas on the earth, particularly in the People's Republic of Cambridge, Massachusetts, where one state representative has proposed something which goes completely contrary to the history of Massachusetts, where over 200 years ago in Lexington and Concord, Mass, the colonials fought the British because the British were coming to take their guns. Guess what she has proposed? You got it, a gun-grabbing bill.
Petition to have them separated from their guns and their ammunition.
Her name is Marjorie Decker, and she went to public school in Cambridge, Mass., and she has this idea which is very similar to what they have proposed in Colorado. It's one of these so-called red flag bills, which is a name that they put on to these sorts of things. All they need to do, they think, is to just get a judge to label someone dangerous, and they can take a firearm away. In fact, according to her and her wonderfully politically correct language, she tells reporters, quote,
"You think someone in your home is going to kill themselves with a gun that they own, or they're going to go out and hurt other people, you now have the opportunity to go straight to a judge, show the evidence, and ask them to separate them from their gun and their ammunition."
You have the opportunity to go straight to a judge, show the evidence, and ask them to separate them from their gun and ammunition, end quote. Don't you just love it when people are so politically correct they can't even form a proper sentence? Also, don't you love it when people don't use direct language? She uses the term
to separate them from their gun.
Separate, wink, wink, rather than confiscate. Yeah, you know, a judge is going to separate you from your firearm. You know, when someone murders you, they're just separating you from your life. Yeah, you get robbed, they're just separating you from your belongings, which is exactly what would happen here. The state would separate you from your belongings by taking it. In other words, robbing you of it without any due process. They would also be separating taxpayers from their money to have to pay for this to happen. You know, beyond the very ridiculous phrasing of this, there are some amazing things that this woman is overlooking. For example, there are some constitutional strictures that are supposedly in place to protect people against this sort of thing. So there are things such as, the right to a speedy and fair trial by a jury of your peers, which is supposedly protected by the 6th Amendment. And then there's due process before punishment, protected by the 5th Amendment, and then later in the 1800s, reiterated by the 14th Amendment. And how about this crazy thing, Representative Decker, called the 2nd Amendment, which supposedly protects the right to keep and bear arms from infringements by people just like you.
To separate them from their gun and their ammunition.
Yeah, it's the sort of thing that they thought they might have learned in Lexington and Concord, but evidently, with the stretching of space-time, you're forgetting this sort of thing. You know what's really important about this, Representative Decker, is that without the ability to protect yourself, you don't own yourself. You see, there is no right to life unless you have a right to protect that life, Representative Decker, and it seems that you don't respect that. Just like you don't respect the English language or history, particularly the history of Massachusetts. Stunning to think, Representative Decker, that just a few miles from you in the People's Republic of Cambridge, in Lexington and Concord over 200 years ago, people fought against precisely that which you were proposing.
We need to separate them legally from their guns and their ammunition.
Agents of the state coming to take people's firearms because they think they're a danger.
We need to separate them legally from their guns and their ammunition.
Okay, thank you so much. We'll just have the black-robed oligarch rule from on high, and then we'll be separated, and that won't feel quite as bad. Thanks, Representative Decker. It's so great that you remember history. Hey, remember to like and subscribe our videos at MRC TV and spread the word about us. We always love to hear from folks. Don't forget to comment on the videos. Thanks so much for watching. For MRC TV, I'm Gardner Goldsmith.